procedure, gallbladder removal, nothing major. I told everyone, Mom, Dad, Stacy, my brother Jake. It's on June 15th, morning. I'll be in recovery by noon. Mom said, okay, sweetie, keep us posted. Stacy said, you'll be fine. It's laparoscopic, right? Yeah, quick recovery. Good. I'm taking that week off. Beach trip with the girls. I paused. My surgery's that week. I know, but you said it's routine. You'll be fine. I didn't push it. Dad said, you don't need someone there for a routine surgery. You're a grown man. Mom added, we'll be on our phones if anything happens. Jake texted, good luck, bro. I've got a meeting at 9, but I'll check in later. And that was that. June 15th arrived. 7 a.m. I drove myself to the hospital. Nobody offered to come with me. I checked in at the front desk. The nurse smiled. Is someone waiting for you in the family area? No, just me. She nodded, but something shifted in her eyes. Sympathy, maybe. Or pity. I changed into the gown, got the IV line started. A different nurse came by to go over the procedure. Standard laparoscopic cholecystectomy, she said. You'll be under general anesthesia for about an hour, then recovery for 2 to 3 hours before we send you home. Sounds good. And you have someone picking you up? Yeah, I'll figure it out. She looked at me for a second too long and made a note on her clipboard. At 8:15, they wheeled me into the room. I pulled out my phone and opened the family group chat. Typed, going in now, love you all. Hit send. 3 check marks appeared immediately. Read by everyone, no responses. I stared at the screen for a minute, waiting. Nothing came through. The anesthesiologist walked in. Older guy, kind face. Ready, Daniel? Yeah. You'll feel a little cold sensation when the medication starts. Then you'll wake up and it'll all be over. Okay. He adjusted something on the IV. See you on the other side. Everything went black. I woke up to chaos. Not the quiet, groggy recovery I'd been expecting, but noise, movement, urgent voices. My chest felt wrong, like someone had parked a truck on it. I tried to breathe, couldn't get air in. Gasped, tried again. Something's wrong, I said, but my voice came out as a whisper. A nurse leaned over me. Young woman, blonde ponytail. Daniel, can you hear me? Can't. Breathe. Her face changed. She pressed a button on the wall. I need a doctor in here, now. More nurses rushed in. Someone put an oxygen mask on my face. Didn't help. The pressure in my chest was crushing. A doctor appeared. Gray hair, scrubs still clean. He listened to my chest with a stethoscope, moving it from one side to the other. Decreased breath sounds on the left, he said. Get me a portable X-ray, stat. I tried to sit up. Couldn't. The pain was blinding. What's happening? I managed to ask. Stay calm, Daniel. We're checking something. They wheeled an X-ray machine to my bedside, positioned the plate behind me, took images. The doctor studied them on a tablet. His jaw tightened. He came back to my side. Daniel, you have a pneumothorax. Your left lung has collapsed. The words didn't make sense. What? It's a rare complication from the anesthesia. The ventilation pressure during surgery can sometimes cause this, but we need to act fast. What do you need to do? Insert a chest tube. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it'll re-expand your lung and let you breathe properly. Uncomfortable. That was an interesting choice of words. Do you have family here? He asked. No, they couldn't come. The doctor's expression softened. Just slightly. Okay, we'll take good care of you. While they prepped the equipment, I grabbed my phone from the bedside table. My hands were shaking. Called Mom, rang, voicemail. Mom, something's wrong. They're saying my lung collapsed. I'm scared. Please call me back. My voice cracked on that last part. Called Dad. Rang, voicemail. Dad, it's me. I'm in recovery. Something went wrong with the surgery. Please, I need you to call me. Called Stacy. Rang, voicemail. Stacy, Please pick up. I'm at the hospital. There's a complication. I'm really scared. Please. Call Jake. Rang, voicemail. I kept calling, over and over. Mom called again, and again, and again. The nurse who'd been kind earlier touched my arm. Honey, you need to put the phone down. We're about to start the procedure. I looked at my call log. Mom, 14 calls. No answer. Dad, 9 calls. No answer. Stacy, 6 calls. No answer. Jake, 3 calls. No answer. Total, 32 unanswered calls. I set the phone face down on the table. The screen kept lighting up with each failed attempt. I'm sorry, the kind nurse said quietly. I'm sure they'll call back soon. I didn't believe her, but I appreciated the lie. The doctor came back with a tray of instruments. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to numb the area between your ribs, then insert a tube to drain the air that's compressing your lung. Will it hurt? He hesitated. The local anesthetic will help, but you'll feel pressure. That was doctor speak for, yes, this is gonna suck. They positioned me on my side. I could see the tray of instruments, scalpel, tube, something that looked medieval. Deep breath, the doctor said. I tried, couldn't. As deep as you can manage. The needle went in. Local anesthetic burning under my skin, then deeper, between the ribs. Okay, making the incision now. I felt the cut. Sharp, then burning. Then came the tube. I've never felt pain like that. Not sharp like a cut. Not dull like a bruise. Something else entirely. Pressure and wrongness and violation all at once. The tube pushed between my ribs. I could feel it sliding into my chest cavity. Could feel it moving past my head. I gripped the bed rail. Bit down on my lip hard enough to taste blood. Almost there, the doctor said. Almost. That word felt like a lifetime. Then suddenly, release. Air rushed into my lung. The crushing pressure eased. I could breathe again. Sort of. Still hurt like hell. But air was moving. Good, the doctor said. The tube is in. We'll need to keep you here for a few days to monitor the lung. Make sure it stays inflated. Okay. Is there anyone we can call for you? I looked at my phone. 32 missed calls I'd made to my family. 0 incoming calls. No, I said. There's nobody. The kind nurse squeezed my hand. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. They moved me to a room. Private, thankfully. Small mercy. I spent the rest of that day staring at the ceiling. Chest tube draining into a container by the bed. Every breath hurt. Every movement hurt. My phone sat on the bedside table. Silent. At 6 p.m., I finally checked the family group chat. My message from that morning was still there. Going in now. Love you all. 3 check marks. Read by everyone at 8:17 a.m. No responses, not one. I opened Instagram. Stupid maybe, but I needed to see. Stacy's account. She'd posted multiple times. 10:45 a.m. Photo of her at the beach, sunrise, waves, her in a bikini with a flower crown. Caption, phone-free day. Sometimes you just need to disconnect Mominar, beach vibes, unplug. I stared at the timestamp. 10:45 a.m. At 10:45, I'd been calling her 6 times, gasping for air, begging her to pick up. She'd been posting about her phone-free day. 11:30 a.m. Another photo. Her and 3 friends, matching swimsuits, laughing. Caption, best day ever with my girls. Squad goals. Living my best life. 2 p.m. A video. Her jumping into waves. Hair flying. Friends cheering. Caption, this is what freedom feels like. Beach day. So blessed. I checked the timestamp again. 2 RPM. At 2 RPM, I'd been getting a chest tube inserted between my ribs. She'd been jumping into waves, living her best life. I closed the app, set my phone face down, didn't cry, couldn't, just felt empty. A different nurse came in to check my vitals. Older woman, gray hair and a tight bun. How's the pain? She asked. Manageable. She looked at the empty chair by my bed. No visitors today? No? Tomorrow? Probably not. She made a note on her chart. Well, we'll take good care of you. You just focus on healing. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every position hurt. The chest tube pulled. My phone glowed in the dark. I picked it up, opened the family chat again, typed, "I'm okay, lung collapsed, but they fixed it. I'll be here for a few days." Hit send. 3 check marks. Read immediately. 5 minutes passed. 10, 15, no responses. I turned the phone off. Couldn't look at it anymore. Day 2 in the hospital. Nurses came and went, checked the chest tube, brought meals I barely touched, asked if I needed anything. I needed my family, but I couldn't say that out loud. At 10 a.m. my phone rang. Finally, I grabbed it. Mom. Hello. Daniel, hi. I saw your message. Are you okay? My message. From last night. 16 hours ago. Yeah, I'm okay now. What happened? My lung collapsed during recovery. It's called a pneumothorax. They had to put a tube in my chest. Oh my goodness, that sounds scary. It was. I tried calling you. A lot. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I had my phone on silent. I was at my book club, and you know how Martha gets if anyone's phone goes off. Her book club. While I was calling 14 times, while I couldn't breathe. Stacy was at the beach, I said. Couldn't keep the edge out of my voice. Yes, she's been planning that trip for months. She needed the break. Work has been so stressful for her. Stressful, right? I called her 6 times, Mom. Well, she said she was doing a phone-free day for her mental health. You know how important that is. I was in the hospital with a collapsed lung. But you're okay now, right? That's what matters? I didn't know what to say to that. When are they releasing you? Mom asked. 2 or 3 more days. They want to make sure the lung stays inflated. That's good. Very thorough. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I need to run. I'm meeting Susan for lunch. But I'll check in later, okay? Okay. Love you, sweetie. She hung up. I sat there holding the phone, staring at it. That was it. That was the response to my lung collapsed. I'm glad you're okay. I need to run. Day 3. Still alone. The kind nurse from day 1 came back on shift. She remembered me. How are you feeling today, Daniel? Better. Tube comes out tomorrow if everything looks good. That's great news. She adjusted my IV. Still no family? My mom called yesterday. That's good. Yeah. She looked at me for a long moment. You know what? You're tougher than most people we get here. Most adults with chest tubes, they've got 3 or 4 people hovering over them. You've been handling this by yourself like a champ. Thanks. I mean it. You should be proud of yourself. After she left, I thought about that. Proud of myself. For surviving something I should never have had to survive alone. That night, I opened Instagram again. Couldn't help myself. Stacy had posted more. A carousel of photos from the beach trip. Caption. Officially unplugging was the best decision. Came back feeling so refreshed and centered. Sometimes you need to disconnect from the chaos to reconnect with yourself. Self-care. Mental health. Matters. The comments were all heart emojis and "You deserve it, girl" and "Self-care queen." I read every single one. None of them knew. None of them had any idea. Day 4. Discharge. Day. The doctor came in to check the x-ray. Lung looks good. Fully re-expanded. We'll remove the tube and you can go home. Removing the tube was somehow worse than putting it in. The pull. The suction. The feeling of something being ripped out of your chest cavity. But then it was out. And I could breathe. Really breathe. You'll be sore for a week or 2, the doctor said. No heavy lifting. Take it easy. Follow up with your primary care in 7 days. Got it? And Daniel? Yeah? You did really well. This is one of the scarier complications. Most people don't handle it as calmly as you did. Thanks. What he didn't say, most people aren't alone. The discharge nurse gave me my paperwork. Is someone picking you up? No, I'll call an Uber. She frowned. You really shouldn't be alone tonight. The anesthesia can still affect you, and with the chest tube just removed, I'll be fine. She didn't look convinced, but she couldn't force me to have family. I called an Uber, went home, climbed into bed, slept for 14 hours straight. When I woke up, I had 7 texts. 1 from Mom. Glad you're home safe? Rest up. 3 from Stacy. Heard you're out. Feeling better? Mom said it was pretty serious. Let me know if you need anything. 1 from Dad. Home safe? Good. Take it easy. 2 from Jake. You good, bro? Hit me up when you're feeling better. I didn't respond to any of them. 2 weeks passed. I went back to work. Told my coworkers I'd had a complication. They brought me coffee and asked if I needed help with anything. My family group chat was silent. Nobody asked how I was healing. Then, on a Tuesday morning, I got a notification. St. Mary's Hospital had tagged me in a Facebook post. I opened it. Miracle Monday, meet Daniel. There was a photo of me, smiling. One of the nurses must have taken it during recovery. The post read, 2 weeks ago, Daniel came in for routine gallbladder surgery. During recovery, he experienced a spontaneous pneumothorax, a collapsed lung. It's a rare and serious complication that requires immediate intervention. But Daniel remained calm, helped our staff, stayed strong, even though he faced it completely alone. Today, Daniel is fully recovered and back to his life. We're so proud to share this story of resilience and courage. Thank you for inspiring our team, Daniel. The post already had 400 likes, 50 comments, 20 shares. I read through the comments. What an inspiration. So brave. I can't imagine going through that alone. Wow, face that with no family there? That takes serious strength. I kept scrolling. Then I saw it. A comment from someone named Jennifer K. Wait, isn't this Stacy Morrison's brother? I follow her on Instagram. Pretty sure she was posting beach pics that same day. My stomach dropped. Another comment appeared below it. OMG, you're right. I just checked. June 15th. She was posting all day. Phone-free day and everything, while her brother was in the hospital. Another. Wow. That's really messed up. More comments started flooding in. People were finding Stacy's Instagram, checking dates, comparing timestamps, putting it all together. The post kept getting shared. 100 shares, 200, 500. By the end of the day, it had 3,000 likes and 600 shares. By the next morning, a local news site picked it up. Local hospital shares inspiring patient recovery stories. They'd interviewed the doctor, the nurses, and they'd reached out to me. I agreed to a brief phone interview, kept it simple. Were you scared? The reporter asked. Yeah, really scared. Did you have support? I paused. Thought about lying, making it sound better. I had the hospital staff. They were incredible. But no family? No, they were busy. The article went live that afternoon. By evening, it had 50,000 views. By morning, 200,000. And people were connecting the dots. Someone had taken screenshots, side by side. My hospital photo. Timestamp. June 15th, 10:30 a.m. Stacy's beach photo. Phone-free day. Timestamp. June 15th, 10:45 a.m. The post went viral, and my phone started ringing. The first call came from Stacy. Not, are you okay, or I'm sorry. Just panic. Daniel, what did you do? I was at my kitchen table eating cereal for dinner because I still couldn't lift anything heavy enough to cook properly. What are you talking about? The hospital post. Everyone's seeing it. People are commenting about me. I didn't post anything, Stacy. But they tagged you. And now people are pulling up my Instagram. They're saying I was at the beach while you were dying. I wasn't dying, but I was scared and alone. You're making me look bad. I set down my spoon. I'm making you look bad? I didn't do anything. The hospital shared a recovery story. People connected the dots themselves. You could have told them not to post it. Why would I do that? Because it's making me look terrible. My coworkers are seeing it. My friends. Then maybe you shouldn't have posted beach photos while I was getting a chest tube. She made a sound like a wounded animal. That's not fair. I didn't know it was serious. I left her 6 voicemails saying my lung collapsed. You didn't listen to them, did you? I was trying to disconnect on my surgery day that you knew about. This is ruining my life, Daniel. Stacy, I almost died, alone, while you posted about being phone-free. Don't you dare guilt-trip me. She hung up. I finished my cereal, took my pain meds, went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to 47 notifications. The hospital post had been shared 2,000 times overnight. Local news sites had picked it up. Someone had made a TikTok comparing timestamps. My phone buzzed. Mom. Daniel, you need to fix this. Good morning to you too, Mom. People are saying horrible things about Stacy, about our family. What are they saying that isn't true? That's not the point. You're embarrassing her. I'm not doing anything. I didn't post it. I didn't share it. I gave one interview where I said the hospital staff was incredible. You said we were busy. You were, weren't you? She didn't answer that. Your sister is getting harassed at work. Harassed or held accountable? Daniel, what were you doing that day, Mom, when I called 14 times? Another pause. I was at my book club. Your book club, while I was calling you from the hospital, saying I couldn't breathe. My phone was on silent. Martha has a rule. Martha's phone etiquette was more important than your son's medical emergency. That's not fair. I didn't know it was serious. I left voicemails saying my lung collapsed, that I was scared. Her voice got smaller. I didn't check them until later. How much later? That evening. 6 hours. She'd waited 6 hours to check a voicemail from her son who'd just had surgery. I want you to take it down, she said. I can't. The hospital posted it. Then tell them to take it down. Why would I do that? Because Stacy is suffering. People are being cruel. People are being honest. You're being vindictive. I'm being silent. There's a difference. I hung up. Stacy's workplace found out on Wednesday. She worked at a marketing firm downtown. Mid-level position, decent salary, decent benefits. She'd been there 3 years and was up for a promotion to senior account manager. One of her coworkers, Amanda, had seen the hospital post. Recognized the last name. Did some digging. Wednesday morning, Amanda walked into the break room where Stacy was making coffee. Hey, Stacy, can I ask you something? Stacy turned, smiled. Sure, what's up? Did your brother just have surgery? Like, a serious complication? Stacy's smile froze. Why? Because there's this story going viral about a patient who had a collapsed lung, and someone in the comments said it's your brother. Daniel? Oh, yeah, that's him. And you were at the beach that day? The break room went quiet. 3 other people were there, suddenly very interested in their coffee. I didn't know it was serious, Stacy said quickly. He said it was routine. Amanda pulled out her phone, showed Stacy the side-by-side screenshots that were circulating. Hospital photo. Daniel, pale, oxygen mask. Timestamp 10:30 a.m. Stacy's Instagram, beach, smiling, flower crown. Phone-free day. Timestamp 10:45 a.m. You were posting about being unplugged while he was in the ER? Amanda's voice wasn't judgmental, just confused. I was taking a mental health day. Stacy, he called you multiple times while he couldn't breathe. One of the other co-workers, Marcus, leaned against the counter. That's pretty cold, not gonna lie. You don't understand. Help me understand. Because it looks like you deliberately ignored your brother's medical emergency to post Instagram content. Stacy's face flushed red. I don't have to explain myself to you. She grabbed her coffee and left. But the damage was done. By lunch, everyone in the office knew. People whispered when she walked past. A few gave her sympathetic looks. Most just looked uncomfortable. At 2 p.m., her boss, Richard, called her into his office. Richard was mid-50s, gray-haired, reasonable guy. Stacy liked him, respected him. He gestured to the chair. Sit down, Stacy, she sat. I saw the story, he said. The hospital post about your brother. Her stomach dropped. Richard, I can explain. Did you know about his surgery beforehand? Yes, but did he tell you what day it was? Yes. And you chose to take a vacation that same day? It was a pre-planned trip, with a phone-free policy on the day your brother had surgery. Stacy opened her mouth, closed it. Richard leaned back in his chair. Look, what you do in your personal life is your business, but this raises questions. What kind of questions? About judgment, about priorities, about how you handle responsibilities when they're inconvenient. That's not fair. Stacy, we were considering you for the senior account manager position. Were, past tense. The role requires someone who can be counted on, someone who shows up when it matters. And honestly, he paused. If you can't show up for your own brother during a medical emergency, how can I trust you to show up for our clients? That's completely different, is it? Because all I see is someone who prioritized Instagram content over a family crisis. Stacy's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know it would turn into this. You didn't know posting phone-free day while ignoring emergency calls would look bad? She didn't answer. I'm not firing you, Richard said, but I'm putting the promotion on hold, indefinitely. Richard, we're done here. Stacy walked out of his office and straight to the bathroom, locked herself in a stall, cried for 20 minutes. When she came out, 3 coworkers were at the sinks. They stopped talking when they saw her. She washed her hands, left, felt their eyes on her back. That night, she called me again. Are you happy now? I was watching TV, still moving carefully because my chest hurt. Happy about what? I lost the promotion. Because of you. Because of me. I didn't post beach photos while you were in surgery. You gave that interview. You told them we were busy. You were busy. That's factually accurate. You made me sound like a monster. Stacy, I didn't even mention you by name. People figured it out because you posted time-stamped photos. I'm being punished for taking a vacation. You're being held accountable for ignoring emergency calls from your brother. There's a difference. This is so unfair. You know what's unfair? Calling someone 32 times while you can't breathe and having every single call go to voicemail. She went quiet. You know what's unfair? I continued. Being alone in a hospital room for 3 days while your sister posts about self-care and mental health. I didn't know. You didn't check. That's worse. I hate you. No, you don't. You're just mad that people know the truth. She hung up. Dad called 30 minutes later. Daniel, this needs to stop. What needs to stop? This vendetta against your sister. I don't have a vendetta. I'm literally sitting on my couch eating soup. You're letting people attack her online. I'm not letting anything happen. I didn't post anything. I didn't share anything. People saw a hospital post and connected dots. You could defend her. Why would I do that? Because she's your sister. Dad, where were you on June 15th? Silence. When I called you 9 times, where were you? I had some errands. What errands? Daniel, what errands were more important than answering calls from your son who just had surgery? I didn't think it was urgent. I left voicemail saying my lung collapsed. I was at Home Depot. My phone was in the car. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. You were at Home Depot for 6 hours. I also went to lunch and stopped at Jerry's to look at his new truck, while I was alone in the hospital with a tube in my chest. Daniel, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, but you're making this into something bigger than it needs to be. Am I? Or am I just not covering for you anymore? Your mother is distraught. Mom had book club. You had Home Depot. Stacy had the beach. Jake had a meeting. Everyone had something more important than me. That's not true. Then why didn't anyone answer? He didn't have an answer for that. I'm not taking anything down, I said. I'm not defending anything. I'm not making excuses. The truth is out there. If you don't like how it looks, maybe think about why. I hung up. Jake texted later that night. Bro, family's losing it. You good? I typed back. I'm fine. How are you? Feeling like shit, to be honest. I should have been there. That surprised me. You had a meeting, I wrote. Meetings can be rescheduled. I messed up. I stared at that message for a long time. Yeah, I finally typed. You did. I'm sorry, man. For real. That was wrong. Thanks. You need anything? No, I'm good. Cool. I'm here if you change your mind. At least one of them got it. The story kept spreading. By Friday, it had hit 500,000 views. News outlets were calling it a cautionary tale about phone addiction and the cost of performative self-care. Someone made a TikTok that went mega viral. Split screen of Stacy's beach video next to a recreation of me calling repeatedly. The audio was just a phone ringing, over and over. No answer. It had 3 million views. Stacy made her Instagram private. Too late. Screenshots lived forever. On Sunday, Mom called one last time. Daniel, please. Stacy's falling apart. She's talking about quitting her job, moving away, starting over. That's her choice. She made a mistake. She made a choice. There's a difference. Haven't you punished her enough? I haven't punished her at all. I've just stopped protecting her from consequences. When did you become so cruel? That hurt. Not because it was true, but because she believed it. I'm not cruel, Mom. I'm just tired of being invisible until it's convenient. We love you. Then why wasn't that enough to make you answer the phone? She didn't have an answer. I need to go, I said. I have a follow-up appointment tomorrow. Will you call us after? Maybe, if I have time. I hung up, turned off my phone, sat in the quiet. For the first time in weeks, I felt something like peace. Not because my family was suffering, but because I'd finally stopped carrying their guilt. The truth was out, and I was done apologizing for it. 3 months later, Stacy quit her job. Not fired, not forced out. But the environment had become unbearable. People were polite, professional, but distant. Nobody invited her to happy hours anymore. Nobody asked her to join the office fantasy football league. When she walked into the break room, conversations would pause, then awkwardly resume. She wasn't harassed, she was just tolerated, which in some ways was worse. Her friend Ashley told me later, we'd stayed in touch, weirdly enough, that Stacy had started eating lunch in her car, alone, scrolling through her phone, watching the Instagram followers drop one by one. She'd lost 2,000 followers in 3 months, most of them without explanation. Just quiet unfollows. The ones who stayed left comments on her old posts. This you ignoring your brother's emergency? Self-care queen except when family needs you. Imagine being this selfish. She deleted the beach photos eventually, but the internet never forgets. Screenshots circulated. The story had been archived on multiple influencer drama accounts. In September, she got a job offer in Denver, marketing coordinator. Smaller company, less pay, but fresh start. She took it, moved within 2 weeks. Mom called, crying. Your sister is leaving, moving across the country, because of what happened. Because of what she did, I corrected. Don't you feel bad at all? I thought about that. Did I? No, I said honestly. I feel bad that it happened, but I don't feel guilty for telling the truth. You didn't have to do that interview. Mom, I said the hospital staff was incredible and that my family was busy. Both facts. Everything else, people figured out themselves. She was quiet for a moment. When did you become so hard? When I woke up alone in a hospital room and realized nobody was coming. She hung up. Stacy left without saying goodbye to me. Just a text in the family group chat. Moved to Denver. New job. New start. Thanks for the support. I didn't respond. Jake called me that night. You talked to Stacy before she left? No. You? Yeah, she's not doing great, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you, though? I sighed. I don't want her to suffer, but I'm also not responsible for fixing the consequences of her choices. Fair, he paused. For what it's worth, I think she knows she screwed up. She's just too proud to say it. Then she hasn't learned anything. Maybe not yet. But Denver didn't give Stacy the fresh start she wanted. Her new company was small, tight-knit. They Googled new employees. Her second week there, her manager, Patricia, called her into the office. "Stacy, I need to ask you about something." Stacy's stomach dropped. "Okay. There's a story online about your brother's surgery and you being at the beach. That was months ago. I know, but it came up during a background social media check. We do them for all employees after the probation period. I didn't do anything illegal. No, you didn't. But our company culture is built on trust and reliability, and this raises some questions." "It was a misunderstanding." Patricia pulled up her computer screen. Showed Stacy the side-by-side screenshots. "This doesn't look like a misunderstanding. This looks like you deliberately ignored emergency calls. I was taking a mental health day during your brother's surgery that you knew about." Stacy's hands shook. "Are you firing me?" "No, but I need you to understand that we're watching. One slip, one indication that you're unreliable, and we'll reevaluate." Stacy nodded, left the office, sat at her desk and realized the story would follow her everywhere. She texted Ashley that night. "Can't escape it. They know here too." Ashley replied, "Maybe stop trying to escape it and actually deal with it." Stacy didn't respond. Meanwhile, I was healing. Not just physically, the lung had healed fine, just a small scar between my ribs, but emotionally. I started therapy in October. Found a good therapist, Caroline, who specialized in family trauma. "Tell me about the hospital," she said during our first session. I told her everything. The 32 calls, the chest tube, the 3 days alone. "And how did that make you feel?" "Abandoned." "But not surprised?" I thought about that. "No, not surprised." "Why not?" "Because I've always been an afterthought. This just made it obvious." She nodded. "What changed after the story went public?" "I stopped pretending, stopped making excuses for it, stopped being available." "How does that feel?" "Lonely, but honest," she smiled. "That's growth." Over the next few months, I set boundaries. Real ones. When Mom called asking if I'd come to Thanksgiving, I said no. "But it's Thanksgiving, family tradition." "I'm starting new traditions." "With who?" "With people who show up." I spent Thanksgiving with Jake and his girlfriend, Emma. We ordered pizza and watched football. It was perfect. Mom sent a guilt trip text. "Your empty chair made everyone sad." I replied, "You had 3 months to fill it. You chose not to." Christmas was the same. I stayed home, watched movies, felt peaceful. Mom called on Christmas Eve. "Daniel, please, can't we move past this?" "Move past what exactly?" "This grudge you're holding." "I'm not holding a grudge. I'm holding a boundary." "What does that even mean?" "It means I'm not available to people who weren't available to me when I needed them most." "So you're cutting us off forever?" "I'm creating space until I see real change." "What kind of change?" "Acknowledgement, apology, understanding that what happened was wrong." "We've said we're sorry." "No, you've said you're sorry I'm upset. That's different." She went quiet. "When you're ready to actually take responsibility, call me," I said. "Until then, I need distance." I hung up. In February, almost a year after the surgery, I got an unexpected message from Stacy. Not a text, an actual email. 3 paragraphs long. "Daniel, I've been in therapy. My therapist suggested I write this, not because you owe me forgiveness, but because I owe you honesty. What I did was wrong. Not just wrong, cruel. You were scared and alone, and I was posting about self-care like my beach day was more important than your life. It wasn't. Nothing was more important than being there for you. I didn't answer because I'd convinced myself that phone-free was healthy, that disconnecting was brave. But really, I was just prioritizing my image over your safety. And when it all came out, I was more worried about my reputation than your recovery. I lost my promotion. I moved cities. I'm still dealing with the consequences. And I'm not writing this to make you feel bad for me. I'm writing because you deserve better. You deserve the sister who showed up. I wasn't that person. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me. I don't know if I deserve it, but I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Stacy. I read it 3 times. Showed it to Caroline at my next session. How does it make you feel? She asked. Suspicious. Why? Because it's convenient. She tried running from it, couldn't, so now she's apologizing. Does that make the apology less valid? I thought about that. Maybe not, but it makes me less willing to accept it immediately. What would you need to believe it's genuine? Time, consistency, action, not just words? Caroline nodded. That's fair. I didn't respond to Stacy's email. Not yet. Instead, I forwarded it to Jake. What do you think? He called me. I think she's been miserable. Emma saw her LinkedIn. She's on her 3rd job in Denver in less than a year. That's not my problem. I know, but she's trying, Danny, in her own screwed up way. Trying to feel better, not trying to make things right. Maybe both? I didn't answer. In March, Dad reached out, asked to meet for coffee. I almost said no. But something made me agree. We met at a neutral place, coffee shop halfway between us. He looked older, grayer, tired. Thanks for meeting me, he said. Don't thank me yet. He smiled weakly. Fair. We sat, ordered. The silence was heavy. I was at Home Depot, he said finally. That day, I really was. I know, but that's not why I didn't answer. I looked at him. I saw your calls. I saw your voicemails. And I thought, it's probably nothing. He's being dramatic. Surgery makes people anxious. So you ignored me. I ignored you, he admitted, because I didn't want to deal with it. And by the time I realized it was serious, I was too ashamed to call back. That landed differently than I expected. You were ashamed, I repeated. Terrified. I almost lost you, and I wasn't there. What kind of father does that? A human one, I guess. He looked surprised. I'm not saying it's okay, I clarified, but at least you're being honest. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good, because I don't know if I can. Not yet. He nodded. What would help? Time, space, you actually showing up when it's inconvenient. Okay. We finished our coffee, shook hands. It wasn't closure, but it was something. In April, I got a call from an unknown number. Daniel, this is Patricia Chen. I'm Stacy's manager in Denver. My stomach dropped. Is she okay? She's fine. I'm calling because, well, she gave me permission to reach out. She wanted you to know she's been doing well here. Showing up early, staying late, taking responsibility for mistakes, being reliable. Okay. She talks about you sometimes, about what happened. She's not making excuses anymore, just owning it. Why are you telling me this? Because she won't. Too proud. But I thought you should know that people can change. Not everyone does. But some do. After we hung up, I sat with that for a while. Maybe Stacy was changing, maybe she wasn't. Either way, it wasn't my job to absolve her. That was between her and herself. By summer, I'd mostly moved on. The story still popped up occasionally. Someone would recognize me. Hey, aren't you the guy from that hospital story? Sometimes I'd confirm. Sometimes I'd just smile and change the subject. The scar on my chest had faded to a thin white line, barely visible. But the scar inside, the one from being abandoned, that one took longer to heal. Therapy helped. Setting boundaries helped. Choosing who got access to my life helped. And slowly, carefully, I started letting family back in. Not all at once. Not completely. But Jake came over for football Sundays. Dad and I had coffee once a month. Mom and I texted occasionally. Surface stuff, mostly. Stacy and I hadn't spoken, but I kept her email, printed it out, put it in a folder labeled Maybe Someday, because maybe someday I'd be ready, or maybe I wouldn't. And that was okay too. The important thing was that I'd survived. Not just the surgery, not just the collapsed lung, but the loneliness that came after. And I'd learned that being alone wasn't the same as being abandoned. Sometimes, being alone was a choice, a healthy one. And for the first time in my life, I was okay with that. 2 years later, Jake got engaged. The wedding was in Colorado, mountain venue, October colors. I flew in knowing Stacy would be there. Separate tables, intentional distance. She looked different at the rehearsal dinner. Hair shorter, less makeup, no Instagram performance. We nodded across the room. Didn't talk. Saturday morning, she found me in the hotel lobby. Can we talk? Just a minute. We went outside. Cold air, empty patio. I'm not expecting anything, she said, but I wanted to say, in person, that I'm sorry. I looked at her. 2 years of therapy between us. 2 years of growth. I believe you're sorry, I said, but I don't need your apology to move on. I already did. She nodded. I'm still in Denver. Same company for 18 months. Got promoted. Also got a dog. Deleted most of Instagram. That's good. I think about that day a lot. The beach, how selfish it was. You were performing for yourself. The strangers were just the audience. She smiled sadly. Therapy made you insightful. Therapy made me honest. We stood there for a moment. Not enemies, not friends. Just two people who'd survived something different. I don't expect us to be close, she said. But maybe someday we can be in the same room without it hurting. We're in the same room right now. And it doesn't hurt. It's just different. Different I can work with. The wedding was beautiful. I danced with Emma's grandmother, talked to Jake's friends, avoided the bar, saw Stacy across the room laughing with Emma's sister. Not performing. Just existing. Dad found me during the reception. I'm proud of you, for setting boundaries, for making us work to be in your life. I did it to protect myself. I know. That's exactly what you should have done. He paused. Your mother wants to have you over for dinner, whenever you're ready. I'll think about it. He nodded, walked away. Later, I stepped outside for air, touched the scar on my chest. Barely felt it anymore. Just a thin line. Jake joined me. You okay? Yeah, good, actually. You and Stacy in the same room. Progress. Baby steps. You think we'll ever be normal? I don't know what normal means, but maybe we'll be honest. I flew home the next day, back to my apartment, my job, my routine. But something had shifted. I wasn't waiting anymore. Not for apologies or reconciliation or closure from anyone but myself. 3 months later, I had dinner with Mom and Dad. Small restaurant, neutral territory. We're selling the house, Dad said. Going to therapy together. Should have done it years ago. Will you come to Thanksgiving? Mom asked. Just us, small. I thought about boundaries, about carefully letting them back in. Yeah, on one condition. If I need space again, you respect it. No guilt trips. They nodded. We can do that. And they did. Not perfectly. But they tried. That was enough. The scar on my chest is barely visible now. Sometimes I forget it's there. But every now and then, I touch it. Remember the fear. The 32 unanswered calls. The 3 days alone. And I remember that I survived. Not just the lung collapse, but the silence that followed. I learned that being alone isn't the same as being abandoned. Sometimes it's a choice. That forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the anger so it doesn't poison you. That family is the people who show up. Blood doesn't guarantee that. And that sometimes the person who saves you is you. I'm not bitter. Just boundaried. Not broken. Just rebuilt. Not waiting to be saved. Because I already saved myself. And that's the real miracle.